Okay, so we're started. That's really, really cool. I heard some super cool things already, but we're only at the first session. I'm not going to take too much time. I want to welcome on stage Jeremy Bonneval, CEO of Devoteam G Cloud, and Edward Baten, Head of Google Cloud Benelux. Here you go.
Thanks a lot, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Edward, for sharing the stage with me. Maybe first, before we go ahead and get started, I'll introduce Edward, and he'll introduce myself. So, I don't know if you know Edward Baten, but he's been at Google, I think, for almost 7-8 years, or even more. 9 years. So he was Google Cloud before. He was the only person when we started our company, and now Google Cloud has also rapidly expanded. Next to being the head of Google Cloud in Belgium, Edward is also a kite surfer. You wouldn't say it maybe, but he's very sporty. He does a lot of biking. He goes and does triathlons whenever he gets bored, and voila. So this is Edward basically in a nutshell, and he'll also introduce me, I guess.
Thank you, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. By the way, this is Jeremy Bonneval. Jeremy is leading the Devoteam G Cloud. I was almost saying forecast, but it's Devoteam G Cloud team here in Belgium and Luxembourg. I'm not actually sure. And Luxembourg. And what you really want to know about Jeremy, that he almost got it to the level of professional tennis player. He did college he went to the US to do college and kind of train himself to become a professional tennis player, and he almost got there. Right?
This is my backup plan.
So if you ever need tennis classes, he's your man.
Thank you very much. And of course now we're locally here in Belgium, and in order to get yourself up and running, the first thing that we're going to do is ask you a couple of questions, because a lot of you have been sitting in traffic for a while, so we need to stretch the legs. So what we're going to do with this icebreaker is that we're going to ask 5 different questions, and when it's a yes or no question. And if it's a yes, you need to raise your hand, and what we'll do is that we'll throw the woolen ball. And what you need to do is to throw this to the other people that have raised their hand. I think you will have to stand up, but that's
yes, please stand up. And for those who still want a seat, there is some seats over there and there, I think. So feel free to take a seat if you want. But for now, please stand up. Yeah. So the first question. So how are we going to do this? If the answer to the question is no, you can sit down. Otherwise, you just keep standing up, right? Is that the easiest? Yeah. So the first question is, who did not have the COVID virus yet?
Who has not tested positive yet?
If you did, you can sit down right now. So I'm going to throw this to Manuel, and now you throw it to the other persons who did not have. No, you keep it in your hand, right? So
you need to keep it, so we kind of make a web.
We're going to make a team here. All right, keep throwing it. Can you just throw it and that works. Good.
It's like a network.
We're doing network, the Data News Awards last week. The theme was the art of networking. That is exactly what we're doing today. Oh. Keep throwing.
Maybe we'll go and ask the next question already, so we can throw simultaneously. So the next question is, who has a hybrid policy when it is about returning to work?
So that you have a policy where you have a few days in the office and a few days not in the office.
Maybe the ones that they have to raise their hand, because indeed otherwise everybody is gonna...
So we also have it, so I'm gonna start throwing it here.
This is gonna become a mess, I think.
Keep throwing that ball. You also have a hybrid
return
to office policy, right? a little bit more difficult now, so otherwise it's going to be a mess. The next question, I suspect there will be less people who raise their hands. The next question is, who does have a personal KPI on sustainability? Put 2 hands in the air, please. Who has a personal KPI on sustainability?
Oh wow, no one.
No one yet, right? Okay, so that's the empty line. Next one.
The next one is, who's working with Kubernetes already?
That should be easier, right? Should be more. Okay, keep throwing. We need a real network here. And then the last one is, I must say, a personal favorite of mine. And I only want honest answers here, okay? The question is, who failed miserably in the last 5 days on something? Who failed miserably on the last 5 days? I see people who actually, you need to think a bit, right? But finally you'll see that we all probably failed miserably. And by the way, for those who are not standing up, if you did not fail, it means you did not take enough risks the past 5 days. Think about it for the next 5 days. Take more risks, because you will have to fail miserably. All right, maybe now everybody can stand up, and we can see whether we made a web over here. Should be able to take a few nice pictures. All right.
Cool.
Good. Now we need
One
somebody.
picture, Lilian.
Yeah, we got a professional picture taker over here.
Okay, nice. Thanks.
Thank
Good.
you very much.
Thank you for that.
Just drop it on the floor, I guess.
Can you help to clean up? Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much. Now, a bit more to the formal stuff. We have indeed a very packed agenda. I'm not going to walk through all the sessions at the same time immediately, because then I'm going to take too much time. But basically, we now have the local keynote, which is happening at this stage. Then we will have a coffee break for 20 minutes. And then basically we will have 2 rooms. So this is the main room, and then the breakout room is on the other side of the floor. And yeah, we'll have plenty of sessions. And after each session, so every session will take about 25 minutes. And after each session, we'll have 5 minutes where we'll also display the session that is coming up. And then you decide, okay, do you stay in this room or do you go to the next room? So we'll always give 5 minutes to switch rooms. And we've tried to make this as pragmatic as possible. We can say a lot of things, but we've tried to invite as many customers as possible to tell about their experiences. And we also have, I think, pretty cool. He was not the ICT personality of the year yet when we invited him to speak here, but we are lucky that he is now, which is Jan Hollet of Deliverict. He will also be speaking at our event at 12. By the way, one more thing. So during the coffee breaks and the lunch, we will have the specialists that will be in the booth over there. So if you have specific questions about a session, you can always go there and ask questions about the specific booth itself. Then maybe to get started, I think this is, we have both our own stories. So Edward has a story about his personal, it's not his favorite client, but he's one of his favorite customers. And I have mine as well. And I think it's a journey that we're particularly proud of. It's a journey that we started with Unified Post. Unified Post has been introduced on the stock market a year and a half ago approximately, but it's a company that helps SMEs to process their invoices and really gain a lot of time by not having to process these invoices manually, but basically extracting values out of documents and invoices in order that this process goes fully automatically. And Unified Post has tremendous growth plans, as both an organical growth and an M&A growth. And basically their technology that they were on at this stage was not going to be able to keep up with their pace. It was not a serverless solution, and that's why we started to have talks about document AI with them, about how document AI is serverless and can help them scale to process about 1 billion invoices a year, with of course a lot of peaks during the VAT periods in Belgium. And we're happy to say that Doc AI has been successfully implemented at Unified Post, and is really helping them first of all to get more done, maintaining less infrastructure, but also the results of the extraction is much more accurate. I think Google is known for its AI and ML capabilities, and they were already on a great solution, but we basically improved the performance of their solution by 2.5x, which is quite remarkable. And since then, we've been helping them modernizing their infrastructure. We've been helping them become more data-driven, etc., etc. So I think we've been helping them along the entire way, and it's a story that we're particularly proud of, because it's also a digital native that we're helping throughout their journey of their growth, and also throughout their journey on becoming successful on the stock market as well. Now, Edward's
one of my favorite stories of today is about Melexis. Not just because we celebrated 10 years on Workspace last year, but also they're moving out of their data centers. And they're moving, guess what, everything to Google Cloud. And what you may or may not know is that in every Tesla Model Y, there's 58 chips of Melexis. Even better, in a Mercedes EQS, there's 170 chips of Melexis. And we should all be very proud of that. Now, if you go to the next slide, what I'm particularly proud of is not just that they're moving out of their data centers, but they're also optimizing their data quality testing of their chips with our AI and ML capabilities. And then finally, when you move to the cloud, it's not just a technology move, it's also a cultural thing. Because we all know that when you move to the cloud, everybody can take resources just like that. While if you have a data center bought, like engineers need to ask for approvals on that. So it needs a full FinOps cultural change. Because you will empower your engineers to take the resources that they need to do their job. You're empowering them, you're giving them the freedom. And with freedom comes responsibility. So they need to take the responsibility to use those resources in a good way. So the cultural part of this story for me is as important as the technology part. More on that to come later today.
Yeah, we have after this session, so after the coffee break, we'll have a session on their journey to the cloud as well. So today we will talk a lot about the technology of Google Cloud, how it differentiates. We'll also have local customer stories like we've been explaining, but what makes us different here in Belgium, because you've heard Valon, Sepp and Samuel, but what makes us different in Belgium? I think, first of all, what is quite remarkable for a country like Belgium is that it was the first place where Google opened their data centers in Europe, which is quite remarkable because Belgium is not really known for that. So it's really something to be very proud of as a country. And it's been actively open since 2010, but they started building it 15 years ago at this stage. It's also the largest data center of Europe. There are already 4 data centers in Belgium. The 5th one and the 6th one are in the process of making it, and the 5th one will probably be launched at the end of this year. Next to that, Google has also bought land in Charleroi to potentially even expand further there. So it's by far the largest data center in Europe. And what else is remarkable about the data center in Belgium is that was the first data center that went on a fully cooling mechanism without using electricity. It's taking water out local rivers, and it's cooling their entire infrastructure like that. Next to that, there is 11,000 solar panels, so it also needs quite a lot of land to power the data center, which is also the biggest solar plant almost in Europe. And it's also, since 2020, the first ever battery-based system for backup power at a hyperscaler. So if the electricity goes down, it's fully covered by batteries. And in total, that is approximately 1.6 billion euro of investment in the country. And Google is also using a lot of the local players a lot. So it's investing quite a lot in the Belgian economy.
So in summary, many people at Google in Belgium have a KPI on sustainability. You better start thinking about it yourself, because I think you will have one in the very near future. What else makes us unique in Belgium? Well, we at Google Cloud are extremely proud that we probably have the best partner of Europe here in Belgium. Let me tell you about a story 9 years ago when I was for 6 months at Google, and there was a young guy calling me and said, "Hey, we need to talk today to you." I said, "Hey, dude, the sun is nice. If you really want to talk to me, come to my garden. We'll have a chat." Those were 4 guys who wanted to start a new company called Forecasts. That was 9 years ago. If we fast forward to today, they won the best Google Cloud Partner Award for 4 times. You see me 4 times, right? If you follow the video, you know what I'm saying. So 4 times. And so basically Google, or Belgium, is known for its chocolates and beers. Google Cloud is known in EMEA for having the best partner.
Thank you. Well, another thing that is quite remarkable in Belgium, Google Cloud in general is known of being the backbone infrastructure of a lot of digital natives. But actually Belgium has 3 unicorns, and all of them have their primary cloud on Google Cloud. So first unicorn was Colibra. I think they broke through the unicorn state 3 years ago probably. Yeah. And Colibra has now also chosen Google Cloud as their primary cloud. Odoo is another one. They broke through in the unicorn state last year, and Deliverect, who will be present today, broke through the unicorn state this year. So we only have 3 in Belgium, and all 3 of them are using Google Cloud. And then you can see some other logos as well, which are also using Google Cloud. So I think this is quite remarkable in Belgium as well, that all of these great companies are using Google Cloud as their backbone.
We are so proud of those scale and startups. And we're even more proud of the future. We all have children, right? So what if we could have all our children work with Google Cloud and see the Google magic and the 10x thinking, the moonshot thinking? Well, guess what? We're working on it. 3 years ago, like 20% of students were working on Google technology. Today, 50% of students in primary schools are working on Google technology, and 40% in secondary schooling. So we're getting there. In the near future, all students will talk about the Google magic.
I hope so. Cool. And then the last story is the fact that Google Cloud has also been very empathic with the situation that is happening in Ukraine. And so Google invested quite a lot in Ukraine. And that's why they also won the Peace Prize. I think it was last week, you said?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And how did Google Cloud help them? It was really because the cyber attacks in Ukraine were going through the roof. And Google Cloud invested massively in helping them staying secure and helping them with secure keeping technology as well. So I think that's also quite remarkable. It's not a Belgian thing, but in this state, it's quite important that Google is also taking their responsibility in helping wherever they can. So with that, we want to wrap up the local keynote. I think everybody is always ready for some coffee. Thank you very much, Edward, for joining the stage here and taking the time. So we'll have a coffee break right now, and then after the coffee break, so starting at 11, we'll have the Melexis story in this room, and then we'll have another story is about how to build a customer data platform on Google Cloud. We'll have it in the local. In the other breakout.
As today is all about networking, I would like all Googlers to stand up and say your name. So when you move out, you can talk to all those Googlers. So why don't we all stand up? I see Adriano and Kati. Why don't you say your name already? Adriano. Kati. Christophe. Hendrik Jan. AJ, you can call him.
Partner verantwoordelijk voor Belgium.
Good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you at 11.